Ave Maria, welcome back to No Apologies. Today we're going to conclude our vlogs on the first step, which is to prove that God exists. And we're going to do that in 2 points. First, we're going to bring out another proof for God's existence, and then we're going to address a common objection which is made against God's existence. So the first, a proof for God's existence, and that is the reality of miracles. A miracle, by definition, is any event or act that takes place which is beyond the ability of any natural power. There are many, many authenticated miracles in the world today. A person can drive through Europe and stop at any number of churches and take a look at any number of incorrupted bodies of the saints. And although some of these bodies look better than others, the fact is this is human flesh which should have rotted and corrupted ages ago, but which still exists and is being miraculously held in existence, pointing to the reality of the supernatural. There are also, you can come across many Eucharistic miracles. For example, the Eucharistic miracle of Lanciano, where the host and the wine actually turned into a piece of flesh and a vial of blood. This miracle has been looked at by many scientists, and they all have come to the same conclusion, that there's no explanation for what they're looking at, but they are in fact looking at a piece of flesh and a vial of blood. There are also many miraculous healings that have taken place in the world. In Lourdes, France alone, there are 67 authenticated miracles that the Church has approved, in which medical doctors have said there is no natural explanation for. The most recent of which just happened 2 years ago, in 2005, when the Miss Anna Santaleo was cured of her heart disease. Any of these miracles can be verified by anyone who has the ability to do a little travel and can see them with their own eyes, or they can do a search on the internet and see many, many pictures of all these miracles. And all of them point to the same thing, the reality of the supernatural, the reality that there is a God. Now the second point for today's vlog is to address an objection to God's existence. And that is, if there really was an all-good, an all-knowing, and an all-powerful God, then there would be no evil in the world. But there is evil and there is suffering in the world. Therefore, they conclude there is no God. Well, I'd just like to make a few points. First of all, even if there was no reasonable explanation for evil or for suffering, that doesn't let an atheist off the hook. They still have to face the reality of all the other proofs which we've brought out in these past vlogs. But there are good explanations for evil and suffering in the world. First of all, God has given us a free will, and He respects that free will, even if we choose to abuse it and use it to do evil or to create suffering. Just because we abuse one of God's gifts, God's not responsible. It's not His fault. Secondly, God sometimes permits suffering to take place because it can be beneficial. It gives us an opportunity to grow in virtue. It gives us an opportunity to atone for our sins. And it may in fact be the greatest blessing that God can give to a soul. My family and I just experienced this past year. A year ago this month, my father was diagnosed with advanced stages of throat cancer. 2 months later, this past January, he had passed away. I still believe that those 2 months when he was diagnosed with cancer may have been the greatest blessings of his life, because I'm certain that a lot of things went through his head which wouldn't have gone through his head had he not been in that situation. And hopefully he realized that this now was his time to make peace with God. Hopefully he did that, and now he may enjoy heaven and enjoy God for all eternity. So the point is, we have to see evil and suffering from God's point of view, not from ours. He always has our best end in mind, even when it's difficult for us to see. A good illustration of this is the little kid who looks up at the grandmother who's doing a cross stitch. He sees the bottom of the cross stitch, and to him it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You can't make out the picture. It just looks like a bunch of strands of colors going every which way. But when the grandmother flips it over or lifts the kid up so he can see it from the top down, all of a sudden he realizes, well, there was a pattern. There was a reason for every single stitch that his grandmother had made. Everything depends on our point of view. So we can easily say that the problem of evil and suffering in this world in no way proves that God doesn't exist. Thanks for joining me here on No Apologies. I hope to see you again soon. Ave Maria.